Okay, welcome to Opinion. Opinion is the video that I do once a week on Sundays, 9 p.m., where I give you my opinion. Okay, now the choice of agreeing to it, not agreeing to it, as always, is yours. Okay, I don't have data and papers and all. I have no backup papers and data and all that. I have nothing of that. I just talk to you about my opinion. So let's get into the show. I love doing this show actually. Okay, now first let me talk to you about paradox. You see, the story goes that there was this young lawyer, young guy, young student, not a lawyer, young student who wanted to learn law. So he goes to this teacher who is one of the best lawyers and one of the best law teachers in that particular vicinity. He goes to this teacher and says, "Teacher, teach me law." Now, mind you, the student is very poor, doesn't have money. The teacher says, "Fair enough, but yeah, my fees, how are you going to pay my fees? I'm a very expensive teacher, you see." So the student says, "Sir, paise to nahi hai. I don't have money right now. But can I give you money once I win my first case? Can I give you my fees?" The teacher takes pity on him and says, "Okay, chalo, once I will teach you, I will make you into a lawyer. But once you win your first case, you'll have to pay me my fees." Done. Agreement is made and the teaching starts. In a couple of years, the teacher teaches the student law. The student learns law. He becomes a good lawyer. But after that, the student doesn't practice law and all that. 6 months passed, no fees. 1 year passed, the teacher did not get fees. So the teacher went up to the student and said, "Kya hua yaar? What about my fees?" The student says, "Sir, kaisa fees dega? How will I give you fees? I can only give you fees once I win a case, no? So I have not won a case." The teacher said, "Arey, this is not fair here. You are not even practicing. How will you win a case?" He said, "This is cheating." The student says, "No, the contract is what? Contract is I will pay you the day I win a case. I am sticking to my contract. The day I win a case, I will give you a fees." So the lawyer gets very angry. The teacher gets very angry. He goes to the judge, he goes to the court and he files a suit against this guy. He says, "Kya hai? This man, he doesn't pay my fees. I taught him law. I did everything. I worked so hard on him. He became a lawyer. He is not practicing and he is not giving my fees." The judge said no. Heard the case, judge called the other guy and the judge called the other guy and asked him, "Bhai, tera kya story hai? What are you saying?" The other guy said, "Nahi." Other guy said, "Listen, mera kya tha? I was very clear that I will only pay the fees if I win a case. If I don't win a case, I am not going to pay him a fee, which is very clear. And I don't want to practice, so I am not going to pay him a fees." The judge sees both the cases and the judge finally came out with a verdict. The judge said, "Dekho, teacher, the problem is this man told you that he will only pay you once he wins a case and he doesn't want to practice. You didn't put a clause in your contract that if he doesn't practice then he'll have to pay it from his own pocket. No clause to nahi hai. So he doesn't have to pay. So he is not going to practice. So he may not end up paying you. He will not pay you." So the verdict was that the young man, the student will not pay the teacher his fees. ठीक है, teacher takes it. The next week, teacher goes to the student and say, "Arey, give my fees." Student say, "Kya pagal ho gaye ho kya? Arey, you went to court. The court verdict was that I don't have to pay your fees because, our contract said that I have to win a case." He said, "That's exactly the point. You won a case. You won a case against me. So now you have to pay me my fees." The student says that, "Kaisa? Mere ko judgment hai na? The court said I don't have to pay you the fees. So the judgment says I don't have to pay you the fees. But the contract says if I win a case, I have to pay you the fees." Now this is paradox. Who is right? Who is wrong? Now, they say that even today this case is discussed in various law schools and there are debates on this particular case. Once you get a verdict that you don't have to pay fees, then why would the student want to pay fees? But then the contract says that, he has to pay fees once he wins and all of that. This is paradox. This is a typical example of paradox. Now, what is Rahul Gandhi paradox? Let me tell you. You see, there is a parliament. The parliament house, opposition allegedly says that, they are not given opportunity to speak, they are heckled, their mics are switched off. This is what the allegation that the opposition leaders make. One opposition went out to Cambridge, that is Mr. Rahul Gandhi, and made the same allegation, saying that democracy is not being practiced because we are heckled, we are not allowed to speak, our phones are switched off, our mics are switched off. So he says, problem, democracy is not being allowed to practice. And he came back to India. The parliament, the opposition says, तुमने जाके बोला, बाहर जाके बोला that, you are not being allowed to speak. So, the opposition says, till now, till such time that you don't apologize, we will not allow you to speak. Acha, you see the paradox? One person alleges that he was not allowed to speak, goes out and says that you are not allowed to speak. He comes back to India and the opposition says, because you said you are not going to be allowed to speak, till you apologize, you are not going to be allowed to speak in the parliament. Now, this is a vicious circle, isn't it? It becomes a paradox again. The point is, the real opinion that I wanted to keep here is, you see, a parliamentary house is nobody's private property. It is no political party's private property. That, you speak only if you say right things, you don't speak. A parliament house is a place where you discuss the future of India, where you discuss your future and mine, where you discuss your child's future and mine, where you discuss the future of India's progress, where you plan India for the next 100 years. That is what a parliament house is. Parliament house is not a place to bicker. तुमने ऐसा क्यों किया, तुमने वो क्यों किया, तुम ऐसा क्यों बोला, तुम ऐसा क्यों नहीं बोला, तुम अभी बात नहीं करने का, हम बात नहीं करेगा. You see, that's what a parliament house is reduced to currently. Opposition, if they are not allowed to speak, or even for that matter of fact, in a lot of cases, we have also seen opposition not allowing the government to speak. That too is not right. You see, this not allowing the parliament to function is one of the biggest disservice that you can do to our democracy and our country and our countrymen, no matter who does it. And no matter what is the reason for somebody to do it. You see, because you don't like a political party, you don't like opposition, you don't like the government, you can't put the people of India at risk. You can't stake our futures because of your political will or political selfishness or political reasons, can you? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. I'll tell you what I mean by this. See, what I mean by this is you don't allow the opposition to speak, you don't allow the government to speak, you don't have parliamentary committees, you don't have most of the process that that should happen in the parliament. Then what happens is you have bills that are kept and in 2 minutes and 3 minutes in the middle of the chaos, those bills are passed. 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, the bills are passed. Wherein those are the bills that needs to be discussed for hours, for days. You discuss bills threadbare, debate each aspect of the bill, and then when that bill is put up to the people, it turns out to be one of the most flawless bills, most flawless laws, because these are laws. These laws are going to govern us. These laws will make us big or small. This is how important a bill is. And if you spend 3 minutes on a bill, 4 minutes on a bill, 6 minutes on a bill, and the rest of the time, imagine you spend saying that Rahul Gandhi ne kyun aisa bola Cambridge mein. Why? So, we will not allow the parliament to function. Is that fair? I am even saying for Adani, you debate about Adani, you talk about Adani, you say what are the problems that is being caused by Adani. You debate that, but shutting down parliament for that? You are causing problems for the people of this country, and that's the point I wanted to make. So, somewhere down the line, I think we are causing harm to our democracy, and that is a fact by stalling the parliament. Whether one likes it or one doesn't. We are causing harm to the parliament, and that's something that needs to stop. This is the first point I wanted to make. The second opinion, today is going to be slightly longish. A lot of points I want to make. The second point I wanted to speak about was, you see, lately one hears about a lot of these Hindi, Kannada, these aspects. You saw a auto rickshaw driver telling a lady that why don't you speak in Kannada? Because the lady incidentally told him, why are you speaking in English? Why don't you speak in Hindi? Okay. And the guy reacted saying, and then there was some, I think some dancer or some singer or somebody who said that he was forced to speak in Kannada and all that. Let me start, first thing, let me start by saying this, that, I used to visit Bangalore almost once a week. Almost once a week. I used to handle certain businesses there. So I used to go and work on those businesses when I was working, when I was in my employment. Okay, and I must have done this for at least 10 to 12 years of my life. Never have I been asked to or forced to speak in Kannada. Never. I have never forced anyone to speak in Hindi. Neither have I been forced to speak in Kannada in Bangalore. So that is my personal experience. Number one. Number two is I know nobody either who I know who were forced to speak Kannada. So I don't know where this concept of people being forced to speak Kannada is coming from. That is my understanding. I may be wrong. Number one. Number two. Why force somebody to speak a particular language? What makes us believe that one language will unite the entire country? The possibility that we speak so many languages, the diversity in us is what keeps us united. The moment you are going to force something on somebody, be it language or religion or anything for that matter of fact, you are going to force somebody on something on somebody, maybe that is when you are creating that divide. That is when you are creating that dissent. Language, culture, religion should be something that is left to the person's own will and choice. An intelligent, progressive society will never mess with these fundamental facts of a human being, because if you're doing that, you're taking away the most important privilege of a human being, that is his own privacy, his own will. Let's not get there. Let's not get there, because if you are going to go to Karnataka and ask somebody to speak in English or speak in Hindi, he will ask you to speak in Kannada. That is bound to happen. Then maybe you are going to create that wedge, and the cause of that would be possibly you are forcing somebody to say something. I hope I have communicated what I wanted to. Let language, religion, culture be. Let's not disturb that. That's my second opinion, my last opinion. Last point. You see that con man that we heard about who went to J&K with all the Z plus security and all of that. Everybody calls him a con man, and he is a con man because he has conned before also. You see, the guy has conned some retired police officers. He took their cars saying that, they will employ his cars and give them some rent, and then he went and sold the cars. Retired senior police officers. And finally, he doled out checks where he had some 113 rupees in his bank account, and he doled out checks worth 1 crore. This is what I heard. This is the story I heard. Maybe the figures and all are not correct, like I told you. This is my opinion, so I don't carry facts and figures. But this is broadly what it was. So he is a con man. That there is no two questions. But this man went to a sensitive area like Srinagar, like Pulwama, sensitive areas with security, full-fledged security in government cars. I am told he has also gone and given some speeches in that particular area. My point is, are we saying that our security is porous? Our police service is porous? Anybody can just go and give a fake card. That card, whatever I saw, even that card looks so fake. Are we saying that we can just give these cards and senior IPS officers in a state will just allow you to get Z security and vehicles, and is that easy? See, I have dealt with police, a lot of police. I have dealt with police department all my life. I used to advertise for police department, and I have a lot of friends who are in the police. And let me tell you, we have a very robust police department. We have a very robust police department. Protocols, the systems that are followed in the police departments are very robust. So it is not that easy for somebody to just walk in and say, "अरे भैया मेरा कार्ड है, तुम मेरे को Z+ security दो," and next morning you have 5 people. ऐसा सब नहीं होता है. It doesn't work that way, especially in areas like Jammu and Kashmir, where there are a lot of VVIP movements and all of that. Those people are used to it. So just by saying that this man is a con man, he conned everybody, showed a card, got all that Z+ security and all, it is a little difficult for me to digest. First of all, calling himself an additional director of PMO and getting away with it. Red flag number 1. Red flag number 2, Z+ security is what some people say Z security, or whatever. He had 6 policemen behind him with guns. Getting that flag, red flag number 2, you don't get that easily. You don't get that very easily unless and until top people sanctions it. Number 3, he going and giving lectures in some areas. Number 4, visiting this kind of sensitive areas with these kind of bodyguards and all that, because you become conspicuous. You come in the limelight. People know that somebody is traveling. So with all this, if he is not caught, all this, if there is nobody identified it, it took us so much time to identify him as a conman, then I see this, there is a little more than what eyes can see. There is a little more than what we can understand. That's what I think about this particular conman. So this is my opinion for the week, and thank you so much for watching. Till I see you next time, that is next week, Sunday, 9 p.m. Take care. Good night.